Hey, how's it going YouTube? This is Spearfield7. I truly believe that Battle Royale game modes, which we find in games like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds and Fortnite, are going to become common staples to modern video gaming. So it's kind of with some sadness that I've noticed lately that the PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds have created a little bit of drama, a little bit of a stir with Epic Games, the makers of Fortnite, regarding their Battle Royale mode, which is now available for free on the PlayStation Store. I've linked it down in the description below if you're interested in checking it out. Basically, I think it's much to do about nothing. I really don't understand what their beef is, but we'll talk about it a little bit in this video. But I do want to talk a little bit about the Battle Royale game mode. Basically, the multiplayer experiences these days have just been kind of repetitive. They've just been repetitive, slog, grindfest. People have been looking for new stuff, but I really think that this is an indicator of future gaming, and I thought it was worth sitting here and talking to you a little bit about it today. What I really like about Battle Royale game modes is there's an entry level for virtually everyone. There's really not much of a learning curve. You get dropped on a big island or a big map, you basically drop to the ground, you scavenge for resources, and you try to survive. Barriers around the map are created, and then they just keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller, so that it's forcing you into engagements to find a winner. And that's basically it. There's, it's a 2-3 step process. And games can last very short, they can last very long. But today we're going to try to dig a little bit deeper into maybe what those issues are that they have with Fortnite, and also just kind of talking about the experience, because I do like these games. I think the best defining characteristic of the best video games these days is that they're easy to pick up, but they're very difficult to master. And I think that ethos, is basically displayed in these games in spades. You actually have to make decisions. It isn't just sort of an autopilot experience like Call of Duty or some sort of modern first-person shooter. And so we've seen games like Rainbow Six Siege become a very surprise hit. I don't think anybody was expecting it to have the success that it did. Basically, it's search and destroy, but it's taken in a much more tactical fashion, and it relies on a lot more teamwork. And actually, when you're playing online with people, I realize many people play online multiplayer games as if they're solo, even when they're in a team dynamic, like in Call of Duty or whatever. It's all about what I did, where my place is on the leaderboards, and what I was able to accomplish, and you're just kind of along for the ride. In games like Fortnite Battle Royale, which I've been playing a lot recently, and I've really been enjoying the time I've been having with the game, is that there's a sense of adrenaline that's generated when you play the game. There's a feeling of accomplishment for doing well. Every kill that you get is very highly rewarding. Or sneak past an enemy, instead of taking them head on, you decide to go around them and try to, escape to freedom. That can be just as gratifying, so that you're making a lot more connections. You're making more use of that beautiful brain that God and your parents gave you when they were listening to some Barry White in their bedroom before you were born. But we won't talk about that today. But yeah, so another really great factor that I've noticed from this game is that it creates memories. Every single game is kind of different. I had a friend of mine, he's a big PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds player, and he said he got into the final 2. He actually showed me the video clip for proof, and it was hilarious. We died laughing about it for about 10 minutes. He shared a clip with me where he made it to the final 2 in a PUBG match, and so he's right on the verge of winning his very first match. He's in the tiny little bubble, and he lays prone in the grass because he knows the enemy's nearby. So he lays prone in the grass. The enemy hops into a car and runs over him. Now, there are 50,000 ways that match could have ended, but it's really hilarious how it turned out for him in the end. And I think that's why the game is so popular on Twitch and YouTube and other places, is it has kind of a dynamism that is missing and has been so desired in the shooter space for so long. So really, part of this video, I also wanted to comment on the fact that the PUBG developer doesn't like that Epic Games is making a Battle Royale game. If you're familiar with sort of the genre, Battle Royale games or King of the Hill type game modes have been around for quite a while. The first one on PC, I think, was DayZ and H1Z1. I could be incorrect on those. Feel free to correct me in the comments if I'm incorrect. But it's a game mode that isn't exactly the first time we're seeing a game of this experience. They kind of took that base idea of getting a whole pool of people together and then fighting for your survival, and then just kind of adapted on it. And Fortnite too, to their credit, has added kind of wrinkles to their game mode that differ from PUBG. Like, for instance, you can make your own sort of barricades and barriers to keep players from killing you by snatching resources from the environment, much like Minecraft. But basically, this isn't a brand new idea, and the whole irony and the whole funny part of this is PUBG runs on the Unreal 4 engine, which you might see the Unreal Engine logo before a lot of your games. It's basically a free open source sort of programming platform for aspiring game makers. And the ironic and hilarious part is it's put out by Epic Games, which is the maker of Fortnite. So basically PUBG has used this free tool to create their game in Epic Games sort of architecture and their sort of ecosystem for programming games, and then they go off and they're threatening to sue they're threatening to sue Epic Games for creating their own Battle Royale mode. Now, I'm sure that Epic Games, might actually settle with them. I don't see this as such a blatant, dramatic ripoff that the PUBG makers are claiming that it is, but it's hilarious because they've been such an overnight success. They do have a very, very popular IP right now, and they're just trying to protect that. I understand that. There have been heated lawsuits and rivalries between companies like Coca-Cola and PepsiCo, and I totally get it. I totally understand. But there are so many games that we play on a daily basis that we take for granted, I think. The comparisons and the sort of mechanics and format that has been kind of pulled or quote-unquote borrowed from other games. I mean, Call of Duty invented the whole loadout and score streak system for first-person shooters, and you see games like Halo, Titanfall, all of these sort of glomming onto that and including it into their own games. And I don't think Activision, as a billion-dollar company, really gives a shit, that people are taking those elements of the game. There's a game called 7 Days to Die, which is a game that I played fairly frequently on this channel, and it reminds me a lot of Minecraft, only it's a little bit harder. Basically, Minecraft is a survival game where you create stuff, you build stuff, and you try to stay alive. And basically it's the same thing in 7 Days to Die, only this time there's a little bit more realism, I guess. And and you have to, watch your temperature, watch your health, watch your hunger, and there are a lot more factors that you have to kind of juggle. I love 7 Days to Die. I thought it was a lot of fun, but I wasn't going to make any illusions about it that it was some sort of unique thing that I had never seen before in game. The aesthetics are different. The core sort of concept and idea is very similar. There's an old phrase that there's no such thing as an original or new idea, and I kind of believe that. And honestly, I think PUBG is a little bit out there in this claim that their rights are being infringed upon, etc., etc. They claim it's an early access game, but if you've played 2K18 and got on the servers in the past, first couple weeks, you see that most games that we see on shelves day one are early access games. They haven't been completed. They haven't been quality controlled properly. And so as a result, customers have to go through the slog, missing save files, missing accounts, and all sorts of disastrous sort of outcomes, just basically because the companies making the games didn't feel a responsibility to complete their game before it went to launch. And I know that there's a lot of details involved there, such as the amount of time you have, the kind of deadlines that you have to hit, and you have to make dates for your publisher. Otherwise, you're going to get into a lot of trouble, and it's going to hurt your reputation in the industry. But, one could also argue on the flip side of that coin is that customers also deserve some sort of attention to detail. Because if you piss off customers long enough, they'll just stop buying your games. And so we see games like from EA, WB. There's been a lot of games recently that have had a lot of technical issues on multiple, back-to-back releases. And the customers know about it. The customers are more savvy than they ever have. We have the internet. We have this beautiful place where we can track down this information, within seconds and sort of make our buying decisions, based on those assumptions. So that's all I got today, guys. I hope this video gave you something to think about, to consider when we're talking about this new Battle Royale thing. I really don't think it's a fad. I really think it's going to stand the test of time. Of course, I've been wrong before, and I guess guess the future will hold the final answer, the final judgment on all of this. So anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please remember to rate and subscribe if you haven't already. I will be back with more content. Until next time, this is Spearfield7. See you later.